The Fox and the Stork. Once upon a time, in a sun-dappled forest where the trees whispered age-old secrets and a gentle breeze carried the scents of wildflowers and fresh earth, there lived two very different creatures, a cunning fox named Reynard and a graceful stork named Celeste. Though their paths rarely crossed in the quiet of the woodland, fate had woven their lives together through a series of clever exchanges and important lessons. Reynard was known far and wide for his sly tricks and playful mischief. With a coat as red as autumn leaves and eyes that sparkled with mischief, he took great pleasure in outsmarting his fellow animals. Yet beneath his wily exterior, Reynard sometimes forgot that his clever pranks could cause hurt to those who were not as quick or as cunning as he. Celeste, on the other hand, was admired for her elegance and gentle nature. With long, slender legs and a graceful neck that arched beautifully as she walked along the banks of the stream, she moved through the forest with quiet dignity. Her delicate beak, perfectly suited to catching fish and sipping water from narrow crevices, was both a symbol of her refinement and a mark of her uniqueness. One bright morning, as shafts of sunlight danced through the canopy and the forest awakened with the cheerful chorus of birdsong, Reynard decided that he would have a bit of fun at the expense of his longtime acquaintance, Celeste. With a roguish grin playing on his muzzle, he set off to prepare a dinner invitation that he thought would leave her both amused and slightly embarrassed. That very afternoon, Reynard knocked politely at Celeste's door, a small clearing near a bubbling brook where she often rested. "Dear Celeste," he said in a smooth, honeyed tone, "I would be delighted if you would join me for a sumptuous feast at my den tonight. I have prepared a special meal, and I am sure you will enjoy every bite." Celeste, always gracious and kind, accepted the invitation with a polite nod, though a quiet hint of apprehension fluttered in her heart. She had heard of Reynard's penchant for mischief, yet she trusted him as a friend. As evening approached, Reynard led Celeste to his cozy den tucked beneath an ancient oak. The interior was lit by the soft glow of fireflies caught in glass jars, and a shallow wooden table was set with an assortment of delicacies. Reynard's masterpiece for the evening was a steaming bowl of rich, savory soup, its aroma mingling delightfully with the earthy scent of the forest. When they were seated, Reynard poured the soup into a wide, shallow dish. With a sly smile, he watched as Celeste peered into the bowl. The shallow design of the dish meant that the soup lay spread out in a thin layer over the surface. Reynard lapped up the delicious broth with ease, his tongue flicking in satisfaction. But Celeste, with her long, delicate beak, found herself unable to reach the liquid at the bottom of the wide bowl. No matter how she tilted her head or extended her neck, the shallow dish offered her little chance to enjoy the meal. Celeste's eyes widened in dismay as she realized the trick. Though she felt a twinge of embarrassment, she maintained her composure and politely excused herself after the meal. "Thank you for your invitation, Reynard," she said softly, "but it seems that tonight's feast was prepared in a manner that does not allow me to partake fully." Reynard, pleased with his cunning, only chuckled and wished her a good evening, certain that his jest would not be forgotten. Days later, with a measured calm that only wisdom and grace can bring, Celeste decided it was time to teach Reynard a lesson in empathy and fairness. She sent him a polite invitation for dinner at her own home, a small, sunlit clearing by a clear, flowing stream that she had prepared with great care. "Dear Reynard," the note read in elegant script, "I humbly invite you to join me for dinner. I hope that you will enjoy the meal I have prepared, as much as I appreciate our friendship." Reynard, intrigued by the invitation and curious to see what Celeste had in store, eagerly accepted. That evening, he followed the winding path to Celeste's home, expecting a delightful meal to match the beauty of the setting sun. When he arrived, he was greeted by the gentle clatter of utensils and the warm, inviting aroma of freshly cooked fare. Celeste had set a small, elegant table with a tall, narrow vase as the centerpiece, and into it, she poured a savory stew brimming with tender morsels and fragrant herbs. As they sat down to dine, Celeste served the stew from a tall, slender jar. The design of the jar was such that its narrow neck allowed only a small opening at the top. Reynard, with his short snout and quick reflexes, tried repeatedly to dip his paw into the jar, but the narrow opening made it nearly impossible for him to reach the hearty stew inside. Despite his best efforts, he could only manage a few meager licks, while Celeste, with her long, graceful beak, enjoyed every rich, satisfying bite of the meal. As the evening wore on, Reynard's initial amusement turned to discomfort and humility. Here, he experienced firsthand what it felt like to be on the receiving end of a trick meant to teach a lesson. Celeste, with quiet dignity, explained, "Reynard, I prepared this meal just as you prepared yours. You had a shallow dish that left me hungry, and I have provided a tall jar that leaves you wanting. I only ask that you understand that our actions affect others, and that sometimes a little kindness and fairness can make all the difference." The clever fox, whose heart was as quick to learn as it was to scheme, felt a deep pang of regret. In that moment, he realized that his mischief had not only deprived Celeste of a proper meal but had also sown discord between friends. With sincere apology, Reynard bowed his head. "Dear Celeste, I see now that my jest was unkind. I am truly sorry for my actions. I promise to treat you and all our friends with the respect and fairness you deserve." From that day forward, the forest was filled with a new spirit of mutual respect. Reynard abandoned his tricks, and the two friends grew closer, sharing meals and stories with genuine warmth. The memory of the two feasts served as a reminder to all the creatures in the woodland that true friendship is built on fairness and empathy, not on clever tricks or deceit. Moral of the story **. The fable of the fox and the stork teaches us that treating others as we wish to be treated is the key to lasting friendship. Cleverness should never be used to deceive or harm, for what goes around comes around. By showing kindness and fairness, we not only enrich our own lives but also create a more harmonious world for everyone.